Welcome to your Astro Forecast for the week of August 12th, 2024. I'm Sarah Nicole. This is Twisted Goddess Tarot, and my mission is to help you navigate the cosmic energies with greater awareness. If you're watching right now, you are probably watching the replay. If that's the case, leave a comment so I can come back and say hi to you. If you're new here, we do this every Monday where I chat about what is happening in the skies to bring light to how this week's astrology may affect you. Of course, this is going to be at a collective level. How these astrological events affect you personally is going to depend on how it is interacting with your personal birth chart. So we have a few big things to talk about. We're coming up into a very, how do I want to describe this time astrologically? It's a very push-pull energy. Push-pull. That's what we're coming into. So let's talk about first what's happening today, and then we'll kind of lead into this week is going to spill into next week a little bit. All right, so today, Monday, August 12th, we do have something normal, something that we have every month. We have our first quarter moon. This month it's happening at 20 degrees of Scorpio. So the first quarter moon happens when the sun creates a challenging square aspect to the waxing moon, while the energy of the moon is building, while the energy of the moon is growing. This square aspect is something that pushes you to action. It creates sort of a tension inside, and it makes the themes of the first quarter moon focus, momentum, facing your fears. So when we talk about manifesting with the moon, we really only get 2 weeks of active manifestation time, from the new moon to the full moon. The other 2 weeks are the waning moon, when the energy of the moon is letting go. And that's a time when we're meant to release, to rest, to reflect, to realign before the energy starts building again. So the first quarter moon acts as a reminder. It comes up and it brings this tension to remind you that if you set any intentions at the new moon without taking aligned action, the intentions are not going to come to fruition. So this is your reminder back to the new moon that just happened last week. Did you set any intentions? This first quarter moon always acts as a reminder, right? That you set an intention, you set a goal, whether you did it subconsciously or consciously, and what was that goal? And what aligned actions can you take to get you closer to that goal, okay? So that's what that's for. So if you feel any kind of tension today, just know that this is a really great day to let go of what is holding you back and to really take some actions towards those intentions that you set at that new moon. Also, if you want to charge any of your crystals or make moon water under the first quarter moon, that's going to hold the energy of growth and of taking action. So I really like to charge my motivation crystals under the first quarter moon, like my carnelian or my orange calcite, things like that, things that I'm going to use to give me more energy, because the first quarter moon has that building energy about it. So that is what's happening this week. Normally, our first quarter moon, we get that every month. Now let's talk about some things that are happening this week that aren't as common, okay? So we're building up to something is what we're doing. So next Monday, we're going to be having Jupiter square Saturn. And that's something we only get about once every 10 years. And so that's going to be really important. And while the exact date of the exact conjunction is happening on Monday, we're already feeling it this week. So I do want to kind of talk about it already this week, so you're not caught off guard when I start talking about it next week on Monday, right? Hey, Raven. I don't want you to, oh, thank you. I just made it last night. It's Tiffany Stone, which I love. I don't want to wait to talk about this astrological event on Monday because we're going to be feeling it. So just know that we're leading up, we're gearing up towards this conjunction that we only get once every 10 years. But we do have a few things that are happening before then that I want to talk about. So the big players that we're going to be having are Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So let's first talk about those planets, right? Mars is god of war, right? So Mars is all things, our energy, our motivation, our anger, our aggression, what we're willing to fight for, what gets us out of bed in the morning, right? So that is Mars. It's our motivation. It's our fire element. And then we have Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and growth and optimism and idealism, and our and it's all these really beautiful expansive energies. And then we have Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of time, first of all, so it rules chronological time. It's earthly realm. Saturn is all things earthly realm. So if Jupiter is expansive, Saturn is kind of constricting. Saturn says, nope, here's this little box that you kind of need to fit into. Here's your responsibilities that you have. Here are your earthly limitations, and you just kind of need to do your job well, right? And that is Saturn. And so these are the players, these are the key players that are going to be creating these astrological events this week and next week, okay? So first on Thursday, August 15th, we're going to be having Mars, which is going to be sitting at 17 degrees of Gemini. So Mars and Gemini alone can already bring some heated discussions. And it's going to be creating a square, and the square is a tense energy. It is, they're squaring off, right? Cosmic boxing match, I think Raven called it one time. So this Mars at 17 degrees Gemini is going to be squaring Saturn at 17 degrees of Pisces. Ooh, actually, back up. I am so sorry. Back up. Hey, Luna. I want to talk about Wednesday first. I apologize. I scrolled too far in my notes. So we still have Mars. Mars is going to be conjunct Jupiter on Wednesday, August 14th, conjunct Jupiter at 16 degrees of Gemini. So we have Mars, this fiery planet that rules our anger and our aggression and our frustration, but also rules over our energy and our motivation, right? And so we have Mars creating a conjunction, which means it's blending, it's merging together with Jupiter, this planet of expansion, of optimism, of growth, okay? So what this is, Mars is what we want. It's our motivation, right? And Jupiter is growth. And so this can lead us to really wanting growth to happen right now, right? And so while we can look at that being a good thing, right? Like, yeah, I'm ready for growth now, right? I'm ready for growth now across the board for me and for everyone else too. That can seem like a good thing, but whenever Mars is present in that, it's almost too much, right? It's almost too much. So it's like, we want growth now. We want growth. We want expansion. We're ready. We're ready to fight for that growth. We're ready to fight for that expansion. But it can also lead to some arguments, right? Because Mars in Gemini, Mars is heated. Gemini is our words. Jupiter expanding that heated words, okay? So it can also lead to some arguments or some frustration. And so just be mindful of that this week, especially heightening on Wednesday, because also the ruler, that where they're at is in Gemini, right? And the ruler of Gemini is Mercury, which is currently retrograde. So this energy, while you may want to kind of voice your opinions and get it out and say, we're ready for growth now, we're really being asked to instead take that into introspection. Take that into introspection, because remember what I said, this is all kind of going to be leading up to something. So that is on Wednesday. We've got this energy of really wanting growth now, but there can also be some arguments, and there's also the universe saying, hold on, hold that in a little bit, hold that in a little bit. Let's do some introspection. And then on Thursday, the very next day, we have Mars, the planet of war, creating the square, this frustrating square energy to Saturn. So Jupiter, it's meeting with Jupiter and wanting all this growth. And then the very next day, it's creating a square with Saturn. Saturn saying, hold up, slow down, giving us some setbacks. So there's this push-pull energy we're already feeling. So this week can feel very much like, I'm ready to do the things, I'm ready for growth. And then but then life is like, oh, nope, not yet. And have you ever felt that, where like you're ready to do the thing, but everything in the universe seems like it's trying to stop you, and how frustrating that can be. That can be so frustrating. I'm sure each one of us has experienced something like that on some level, right? Where we're ready to do the thing. We finally mustered up the courage to put ourselves out there. And then it's like everywhere you look, there's a hurdle being put in your place. And it's like, what the heck? I finally did the thing, and now I can't get past the start line, right? So that's the energy we have this week. Raven says she's already been feeling it. That's the energy we have. So if you're feeling that push pull, it's not just you, it's happening cosmically. And I promise there's a reason for it, because like I said, this is all leading us up to the Jupiter square Saturn transit that becomes exact on Monday, August 19th. These two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, are the largest two planets in our solar system, and they are considered our karmic planets. Okay, so Jupiter represents our karmic gifts, and Saturn represents our karmic debts. Right? So Jupiter also represents our ideals, our optimism, while Saturn represents our earthly limitations and realism. We only get a Jupiter square Saturn transit once every 10 years. So this is a big deal. And even though it's becoming exact on Monday, that doesn't mean that's the only day we feel it. We're going to be feeling it this week as well, especially with the Mars coming into play with the Jupiter and the Saturn this week, creating this really push-pull effect. It's exacerbating that, if you will. It's exacerbating the Mars is coming in, kind of adding fuel to the fire on this build up to this Jupiter square Saturn transit that we're having on Monday. So this is going to be really a time. Oh, did you hear our combo through the ethers? Listen, if that doesn't tell you that, like, you're not alone, you're not doing anything wrong. This is why I love doing the Astro Forecast, is to let you know that, like, A, you're not alone. Because if there's other people coming in and saying, yeah, I felt it too, right? A, you're not alone. And also it's a reminder that, like, it's nothing that you're doing wrong. This is just kind of the energy that we're being dealt to work through at this time. And it will pass. So this Jupiter square Saturn that we're coming into, we're feeling the buildup. We're feeling the buildup strongly because of Mars adding fuel to the fire. This is a time to look at your ideals versus reality. Okay. So, and it's going to be different for each person. Some of us probably lean too heavily on the Jupiter side, where maybe our head is in the clouds a little bit too much, a little bit ungrounded. Maybe some of our ideals, some of our goals are a little bit out there, right? And like, we should all have dreams, but we do have limitations. We're earthly beings. We're spiritual beings. We can fly to the highest point, but we're also earthly beings as well, and we do have some limitations in this 3D world, right? We can all agree to that, right? And then some of us may lean too heavily on the Saturn side, where we don't entertain any of our goals or any of our dreams or any of our aspirations because we lean too heavily on that, oh, I can't do that, that's impossible, right? Where we're too grounded, where we're too, I wouldn't even call that grounded, I would call that stuck in cement, right? So this is really a good time to look at that, your ideals versus reality, and where are you at? Do you need to fuse a little bit more reality into your ideals, or do you need to fuse a little bit more idealism into your reality? Your desired growth, also, you can look at it another way. Your desired growth versus your desire to stay stable, right? Where are you at with that? It's, as humans, we want some form of stability, right? Our root chakra needs some form of stability, some form of security, but we also want to grow, okay? But if that is not balanced, we'll become stuck in one or the other, okay? Where we're completely don't have any security and are just flying by the seat of our pants, or we'll be to the point where we're so afraid of losing our stability that we get stuck in our comfort zone and don't grow at all. So this is what this is leading up to. This is a really beautiful time to look at this. It's a push-pull energy that we're going to be feeling all week leading up to the exact date on Monday. Okay, so just know that if you're feeling that kind of push-pull within you, that is absolutely normal. It's going to pass. Use it to your benefit by examining this push-pull energy and where is it coming from within you. Are you being pushed more towards growth? Are you being pushed more towards creating stability for yourself? Are you being pushed more towards having more of an idealism? Are you being pushed more towards being a little bit more realistic? Right? So which one is it for you? It's going to be different for every person depending on where they fall in that spectrum, right? So that's what we have this week. My main suggestion would be watch your words, especially with that Mars conjunct Jupiter in Gemini with Mercury retrograde, the ruler of Gemini being retrograde right now, that there's some fiery miscommunications that could happen. We see it on social media all the time, but it can also occur, in real life as well. So that is our Astro Forecast for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. If you missed the beginning, you can always come back and watch the replay. This will be available to you to rewatch all week long, so you can come back and check in. All right.